Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Perception Paradox. My name is Zivile, and today you are up for a treat. Today's guest is Eric Sim, a former UBS investment bank managing director who has over 2 million followers on LinkedIn. After achieving financial freedom, he shifted his focus to helping others find success and meaning in their careers. He is the founder of the Institute of Life, where he teaches career and life skills. Eric is the author of the best-selling book Small Actions: Leading Your Career to Big Success, a powerful guide filled with practical insights and personal stories. Eric's work has been featured by Business Insider and Fortune, and he has collaborated with global brands including Citibank, ServiceNow, and Nikkei Asia. Has also delivered talks at prestigious institutions such as Cambridge and Oxford University, inspiring students and professionals alike. Eric Sim continues to share timeless lessons on personal branding, career growth, and the pursuit of meaningful life, all rooted in his own journey from a hawker stall in Singapore to the global stage. And we met with Eric during the South Summit Madrid last month, and we just dived into the conversation to learn more about his portfolio career and also the positive mindset. So please, let's dive in. Real people, real stories, and real challenges that break the status quo. I'm your host, Zivile, and welcome to Perception Paradox. Hi, Eric. Welcome to Perception Paradox. How are you today?
Fantastic. It's really good to see you again, Zivi.
Likewise. So how is it going after South Summit Madrid? Did you have some time to catch a breath or you continue traveling?
I came back to Singapore and I started giving speeches again.
That's amazing. That sounds exciting. Do you do that all the time, like every week, or it's just part of your career?
Yeah, every week there's either a speech or media interview or a coaching session. I coach senior executive as well.
That's exciting. Do you ever get tired? I always see you always energetic with a big smile, always sharp.
No, this is what I like to do, and this is like my way of living a portfolio career.
When did the term portfolio career come into your life?
When I left investment banking, I wanted to pursue more meaning, and I found that having a portfolio of career, that means multiple income stream, and some career or some job may not give you money but can give you happiness or give you meaning. Then when you combine, then you have a more balanced life. And this is what I've been doing.
That's so amazing. And maybe we can go back a bit to the beginning, right? On your LinkedIn, it shows that before your banking career, you wanted to pursue your PhD program at Princeton and you got rejected. And then you had to kind of be agile and make a decision. So what's next for you, right? And you've been describing that in some of the articles that was a bit devastated. Can you take us back? What's happened then and how did you have to navigate through your continuous career change?
Sure. I always wanted to teach in the university. I was a bad student, and that makes me a good teacher because I know why students didn't do well in school. I can understand them, and also I lack social skills back then, and now I think I've improved after joining investment bank. And I want to teach all that, the technical skills as well as the career skills. And to teach in top universities, you need a PhD. So I applied to Princeton. Unfortunately, I got rejected. So I continued my work in banking. And I used my MD at UBS Investment Bank title to teach. And the university was very kind and gave me an adjunct associate professor title without me having a PhD.
Okay, and have you ever got back to university to do a PhD or you continue teaching?
No, now I don't need a PhD.
That's it.
I'm already teaching in top universities around the world.
That's amazing that from something that you've been dreaming, you found a way how to actually share the knowledge and share the experiences. During your
Yes, because
Yeah.
sometimes in life, you may not get what you want right away, but there are ways around it
Yeah.
to still eventually get what you want. I know I waited 16 years before I got my professorship.
How did your 16 years look like while waiting for your maybe inner calling and inner purpose to teach people? Because sometimes we find ourselves in the places maybe potentially where we don't want to be, or that's not aligned with our inner calling, and we are not happy. How was it for you?
Yes. So I realized that I don't have to teach in a university in the first place. I can teach by writing on LinkedIn, and that's what I did. So 2015, about 10 years ago, I started writing on LinkedIn. And at that time, nobody was paying attention to LinkedIn. It was a job portal. If you want to look for a job, you go on it. And writing on LinkedIn is not a trend. And I was one of the first few writers. So I got there early and I managed to get a lot of followers. And also I get to practice my writing. And then with that practice, I published a book.
Wow. How did you choose the topics to write about?
Mainly of what I've been through, I suffered from the lack of social skills, communication skills, people skills. So I write about how to acquire that and also my failures. You know, on LinkedIn, people tend to write about their achievement. I think so there's enough of those content. I tend to write about my failures, how I overcame those failures, setback, how I address my weaknesses. And I think those are the topic that people find very useful. And I'm glad people keep coming back to read my articles.
That is wonderful, Eric. Well, all the topics you are addressing on LinkedIn, right? It's all related a lot with the inner growth and developing new skills. And sometimes it's pretty difficult to start that journey or to take that first step and the leap. Did you have anyone guiding you through that?
No one was guiding me, and I was also lacked the confidence to ask anybody, so I just keep trying. So how I started was I thought if I need more time, right, to learn all these skills because banking was already taking up most of my time. And you know, in investment banking, it's almost a 24-hour job. So the only way to create more time is to manage your energy. Since it's difficult to manage time and manage energy means I try to standardize my life, have a routine, and I wear the same thing every day. I eat the same thing every week. I try to reduce decision. I stay in the same hotel. I buy the same car.
And is it something that you're still doing right now when you're more on the entrepreneurial and education journey after the investment banking?
Yes, now I need to learn more. So I got more ideas and wider perspective to share with my followers. In fact, because of what I wear all the time, I got recognized by a follower in Madrid in one of the markets, I believe is the Mercado de San Miguel.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Talking about your unconventional career after many years in the banking industry and you becoming someone who's been pursuing the portfolio career. And if we look into the Singaporean market or Asian, and not only Asian, also European, it's not a common standard actually in the society to have such a different career choice. How was it for you, and how did you have courage actually to pursue portfolio career?
Yeah, I started by having a side gig teaching in universities. So I was teaching one lecture a year about 20 years ago. Then that increased to 3-4 lecture a year, and finally one full module per year. So I already have that, and I was coaching people on the side. Then I started writing on LinkedIn, and when I left banking, I realized that this is a way of life and not just about our career. And the way of life means we want to achieve happiness from what we do. We want to achieve happiness from money. Money in a bank account, money that we use to buy things. But that is very short term. So we also need to engage with activities that if if we do, we can forget about time. For example, this artwork down here, I made it, and I made it. I was so into it, and this is just a canned food. I then cut it into half, and then I put them together,
And here we go. Yeah, I can see it. Wonderful.
So when I make things like that, I'm in the flow. So that gives me happiness as well. Then other form of happiness could be from relationship with old friends, with new followers, relationship with business partner. So that also gives me happiness, and of course achievement. I suffered from stage fright, and I was able to now go on to Madrid and speak on the arena stage. The arena stage was like the biggest stage they have in South Summit. So that is what we call accomplishment.
That's beautiful. And when it comes to relationships, how do you find how important it is for us to achieve happiness in relationship field and distribute that between virtual and in-person relationships? Can we do that only?
Relationship, some people think that you cannot replace in-person relationship. But I have made so many friends purely based on virtual, based on Zoom. We collaborated, I paid them, or sometimes I get paid, or we collaborated together to achieve some result. And those relationship is real, despite us not meeting in person.
Okay. And how about the loyalty of those relationships, right? How often do we have to actually connect and communicate? Let's say you have a big fan base, right? And a fan base and people who follow for your thought leadership on LinkedIn. So given your vast network, how do you apply, I don't know, do you apply any rules actually to maintain and keep a relationship with the audience?
I don't have rules. I'm very happy seeing them engage with my posts,
Yeah.
commenting, and that, although it's not very strong, I appreciate them, and I always look forward to them commenting. And when I travel, I meet them. In fact, this trip to Spain, I met one of my followers in Barcelona, and he brought me to a nice Italian restaurant. I also met a student who was in Madrid. Fantastic. You can bring online relationship to offline very quickly, provided you spend enough time online. So it doesn't matter if you engage with each other like once a month or once every 2 months, as long as you have the intention to stay in touch and you keep at it, it will one day blossom into something beautiful.
Wonderful. It's Eric. It seems like you're a very positive person and that you're happy and content. Can we switch our mind from negative to positive one? Or is it something we are
For me,
born
I
with?
I think there is a tendency. Some people tend to look at life negatively. I look at it positively because I'm not supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be helping my father sell prawn noodles on the street in Singapore. In Singapore, we call it hawker center. You call it street food vendors. That's my life. That's supposed to be my life. And now I work in, I'm not saying now, but then I was in banking. I was working in aircon place. I've got a secretary to book my flight. I get paid good amount of money. And I've got teams working for me. In fact, I don't have to do any work. I was just drinking with customers and convincing them to give me the mandate and pay the bank millions of dollars. It was a very easy job for me.
Okay.
So why shouldn't I be happy? Not only that, I'm financially free. I used to worry even about buying grocery. Now I can buy anything in the supermarket. So I'm really, really grateful for the life I have. And of course, I get a lot of support along the way. Bosses who believe in me, friends who recommended me top jobs. I didn't get this UBS MD job purely based on my skills or capability. They were friends referring me to their bosses. And without them, I wouldn't even know there's a job.
Wow, thank you for sharing. That's very interesting what you're sharing, right? That you're supposed to be in the hawker market selling prawns with your dad. How did you take a leap and continue a
Yeah.
different route than something that was predefined from generational careers?
Yeah, in Singapore back in the 1960s, 70s, many people were poor, and selling food on the street is one way of making an honest living. And I'm very proud of my father who did that for 30 years every day.
Wow.
And that bowl of noodles, day after day, helped raise three three children, including me and my two sisters. And I learned so many lessons from helping him. And that's how I got into investment banking.
What would you say are key values that led you through life and got you where you are right now?
Number one is work ethics. I deliver what I promise. If I'm not confident of delivering, I won't promise. And I try to deliver a bit more. Sometimes people casually say, hey, let's do this together. If I say yes, I make sure I do it, just like this podcast. Right? We met briefly at this networking event and you say want to do a podcast. Either I say no or I say yes. But if I say yes, I make sure I'm prepared for it, set up my studio and come on time.
That's a very strong and great work ethic, which sometimes we're missing nowadays, I think, in our free wild lifestyle. That's beautiful, Eric, and thank you so much for showing up with us here today and getting to know you better right now. And you wrote a book, right? Small Actions. And myself also being
Yes.
as a visionary and being surrounded by in the startup scene, we have so many people with big ideas and big dreams, but very often we bump into the wall because this dream is so big that we don't know how to break it through and where to start. So could you picture us those small actions? How did that come into your life?
Because I lack confidence, I didn't dare to take big action, to even dream big. I would sometimes have the big dreams on the back of my mind. So what I do is taking small steps. I suffered from stage fright, but I know public speaking is very important if you want to climb up the corporate ladder. And I knew this since school days. So what did I do? I asked the school dance choreographer if I can join his dance group. And he asked me, Eric, can you dance? I was an engineering student, of course I cannot dance. And told him, Peter, I don't need to dance. I just want to stand on the stage and let the bright lights shine into my eyes and I'm looking down at the audience so I can overcome my stage fright. Then she said, okay, can you carry an umbrella? I say, yeah, I will carry anything you want me to carry. So he said, okay, come back in 2 weeks' time with a red umbrella. So I brought the red umbrella and I went on stage, stand behind the dancer, open the umbrella twice. That's all I did. And that helped me overcome my stage fright a bit. And it was the beginning of my public speaking career.
Oh, wow. That's so interesting. And then the next thing led to another, and now we're seeing you on the big stages of 1,000 people. That's wonderful.
Yes, so I went on to deliver two TEDx talk. I went, of course, to Madrid, and yeah, I was in Chicago to even speak to big audience and big ballrooms. So tell me, how can I not be positive?
That's wonderful. I'm so happy for you. Well, talking about the portfolio career, I keep hearing now, okay, so you had this huge career in banking, then you're an educator, so you teach people and share your knowledge. You're a communicator, public speaker, book author. Could you, how more spread out your portfolio career is, and how do you find time for all of it?
Yeah, to find time, I reduce choices, right? You notice that I don't wear tie. Most of the time, even I give very serious speech to senior leaders because I find that that can save me time if I don't put on a tie. I got no belts for my pants, so when I go through the custom or X-ray machine at the airport, I don't need to take off my belt. I don't have a belt, and my shoes got no shoelace. They are just slip on. So it's very easy. And my watch is not a metal watch, it's a Timex watch, it's plastic. So all of this, I keep things simple so we can free up time to do more things. That is one. And for portfolio career, it is also very important, besides achieving happiness, is to achieve meaning. And we should, if you want to live a very fulfilling life, is contribute and make the contribution bigger than yourself. So what I do is I try to help the 22-year-old Eric and Erica who got no family connection, who may be the taxi driver's children or the supermarket cashier's son and daughters, you know. How can I help them climb up the corporate ladder or find jobs that pays well, or point to them or give them some mentorship? And now I have regularly people coming to me to say, oh, my book helped them, my articles helped them, or my speech helped them. And that's why one of my followers in Barcelona reached out to me knowing that I will come to Barcelona, and he said that my content has helped him. And that was very satisfying for me.
Beautiful. How did you find your meaning?
Meaning is, for me, is to help people like the way people have helped me.
So I can see that you're on a mission with your Institute of Life, right?
Yes, that's my mission, is to help people achieve success at work and in life. And the definition of success will differ from people to people. Some people want money, some people want meaning, some people want relationship. And I feel I can help them in all these areas by sharing with them the small actions that they can take.
What would be the small non-negotiable actions to start a portfolio career?
I think it's a work ethics, integrity. Make sure that you are honest. For me, if I cannot deliver a job, I let the person know. And sometimes I turn down job that I'm not the expert. Then I rather introduce somebody who can do it better than me, rather than screwing up for that person, trying to make small amount of money.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's powerful. And we clearly see that your portfolio career is very diverse, but along the things you're doing when it comes to education, knowledge sharing, raising the next generation of people that are growing up closer to their meaning and to their purpose and are simply happy. You're also a big influencer on LinkedIn, so which leads you to being a marketing expert and brand expert, right? We've just had a quick conversation about you showing up for when you teach students who want to get into banking with a suit, with a shirt, just to show how important it is to actually portray also with your outfit. What do you stand for? What do you represent, right? Can you tell us more? When did branding and this understanding come into your picture?
Yeah, I wear the same white shirt, blue suit almost every day on social media, in person. The primary reason is to save time. So I need to choose one outfit that I can wear every day. And a lot of my students want to get to banking, investment banking. And I want to tell them that banking requires you to be ready to meet customers. And this is what I wear when I meet customers. Hopefully, if they see me often enough, they know that this is the requirement. And I need to set them an example what it looks like to be professionals in banking. Of course, if you want to be a consultant, you want to be a lawyer, it's the same.
Okay. And when it comes to online presence and communication, do you use any external support or just you sharing your thoughts and being brutally honest with the audience?
I wouldn't say brutally honest, but I will choose stories that will be useful for them. Then I try to tell my personal stories with failures, with weaknesses, provided that they have professional application that is universally useful for my audience. And most of my audience are young people who wants to get good jobs, who wants to be promoted. Then there's also another group who are in their mid or senior or the final stage of their career. They want to have a finale,
Yeah.
maybe have financial freedom or have a portfolio career where they can get happiness and meaning. So these are the two groups of people.
Do you think people who are new to LinkedIn and digital network building can still grow their audience on big numbers, or how do you see the current?
Absolutely. Now is the best time to come in because we need different voices. My experience is engineering because that's my first
Yeah.
degree. I did finance, I was in banking, then now I'm an author. But I'm just one type of career. There are people who wants to be creative, who wants to be actor, who wants to be a musician. I know nothing about that. So if they can come in, share that creative side, or to be a stand-up comedian or to be a technician who can adjust lighting, take video, do video editing, they are welcome to share, and all those skills are useful.
But you also more like highlighting that being very focused on the skill and then talking about that specific area. Would it be the way that you approached as well your career, that focusing, okay, now it's a finance time, I'm very good with that, I'm gonna focus on that. Next step, education, I'm very good on education, I'm gonna focus my content just on that.
No, I cover all the areas that I like and I try to link them up. So I'm engineer, so I like technical stuff. So I'll try find statistics. I'll put up a nice table and show it to my audience. I can come up with numbers as well. And I was also in the more quantitative part of finance when I first started out my career. Then later on, I realized that I enjoy video editing as well. So sometimes after a speech, the organizer will give me the video. Then I edit it on my own and share a shorter version with my online audience. So you see, I combine speaking, I combine my content from writing, from my book, I combine video editing and also understanding social media algorithm and then share it with my audience.
Wonderful. You know, there's so much content nowadays online, and sometimes it's getting difficult to kind of shortlist what's important, what's real, what's not real. How do you stay authentic and true to yourself and also with your audience?
For me is, does this post has any value to my target audience? So that is key. If this post has absolutely of no value, then I won't write it. When my father passed away 7 years ago, I did not even mention a single word on social media. Nobody knew. And then everybody has their sorrow and pain. Why should I let people feel my pain? So when I post was as per normal, it was also a way for me to distract myself from the grief by posting a positive post on social media.
Yeah. You've been talking also about failures, right, and your communication. So how do you bounce from hard moments when it comes to your work career, when you get rejected, when you fail to maybe achieve the results you wanted to sometimes, especially if we're more sensitive and nowadays in this, I would call a bit more in a very competitive landscape, it can actually sometimes hurt and even maybe destroy someone's dream to achieve something. How do you cope with failure?
So I failed so many times when I was young. I was weak. I was a good for nothing. So I'm very used to failing. So if I succeed, it's a bonus. And know that your weakness is also your uniqueness. So have to make use of your weakness and sometimes your failure. I failed English. So on LinkedIn, when I wanted to write in 2015, I said, how can I write when my English is so weak? So I use simple words and short sentences. And I write in point form. I usually accompany my post with nicely taken photos. And that worked because on social media, nobody has time to read long sentences. If you write like Shakespeare, who's going to read it? So you see, my weakness in English became my uniqueness in my writing style.
That's a very good.
And for public speaking, you're supposed to vary your pitch. You know, sometimes you need to speak low, sometimes you speak high. Or you're supposed to vary your volume. Sometimes you speak very loud or soft. But all those are too difficult for me, so I don't care. I forget about all the speaking technique. Right? I just tell my story. I mingle with the audience. And I use my props. I will bring my artwork just now, the one I show you. I'll bring my Lincoln cup with me.
That's so cool.
Right? And that is enough. So that become my speaking style instead of following the traditional way of being a good speaker.
So when you go on stage, do you still rehearse or you come and just speak from the heart, or it depends on the type of speech?
I have a good idea of what I want to talk, the flow, but I don't memorize word for word what I say, except the quote. And my slides are pictures. These pictures helps the audience visualize what I'm saying. For example, me at the hawker store selling noodles. If I describe to you, if you haven't been to Singapore, you cannot visualize so well, right? Unless I'm a great speaker. Since I'm not, I use a picture to show. So you understand what I'm saying.
Wonderful. Everything you do and what you've just mentioned about the changes, about
Sorry?
public speaking requires confidence. How are you training
Everything?
your confidence? Does it come with time and repetition, or there are some tips how you can do that?
Can you repeat
We pause, no?
There was
Okay.
like, you froze for a bit.
Okay, I am back. I don't know why it's freezing. Do you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, so I was asking about, so you've been embracing so many, I would say, courageous career paths in your portfolio career. How do you deal with confidence? Is it something that we can train, or it comes the more we do, the more confident we become? Or maybe there are some tips how people can actually embrace that.
Yes, number one is to know that when somebody advises you be more confident is absolutely useless. You cannot be more confident by telling yourself to be more confident. It didn't work for me. Right? I don't think it worked for many other people. The way to achieve confidence is to do the small thing right. You got a big task, divide it, slice it into tiny tasks, do that, be successful. You got a little bit more confidence. You do that, you take the next step, and you take the next step. For example, I told you about public speaking. I stand on stage behind the dancer. I increased my confidence a little bit, but still not enough to erase my stage fright. Then I went to work for banks, and when we work for banks, sometimes we attend conferences. At the end of conferences, when people are leaving, I quickly run up to the stage, visualizing that I'm giving a speech. But because nobody is looking at me since they are already leaving, but the stage is still there, the lights are still there, and that helped me build my confidence again. Then I went to school to teach. It's a little bit easier because with students, I felt more comfortable, and it's a small group. I'm talking about the topic that I'm most familiar with, which is banking finance, and that helped me build my next level of confidence before I go on to deliver my TEDx talk or big keynote.
Okay, wow. So it is taking small actions. And also, I heard the secret word that we use quite a lot nowadays, visualization.
Yes,
Is that something you've been doing your whole career, or
my entire life, I'm always visualizing the scenario of me doing something that I'm afraid to do.
the,
And I force myself to sit in the front row and ask the first question.
oh, really? Wow.
That's how you train confidence.
Okay, that's actually a great tip to get closer to where you want to being in the front row, showing up, asking the first question, even though it's scary, especially if the audience is large and all eyes are on you with a camera, let's say.
Yes. Asking the second question may not give you the chance because when the first question is asked, suddenly everybody is putting up their hand and you may not be chosen.
Yeah, that's correct. And nowadays it's quite popular to speak a lot about coaching and mentorship. Have you ever had yours?
I'm a coach. I don't have an official coach, but I do have bosses, seniors who guide me along the way.
Yeah.
I don't think we need official coach and coachee relationship. If you got a question, find somebody who is an expert, who see the talent in you or the potential in you, and you go ahead and ask that question. But before that, be useful to other people. So the relationship is, how can I get advice? No. The relationship should be, who can I help? If you help many people enough, and next time you need advice, you need help, they will come.
But what if someone who wants to change their career and start, let's say, something closer to their heart, but they lack self-awareness of their skill set? How can someone, especially at a younger age, identify their strengths or weaknesses that it would be helpful for the people?
Yeah, when you want to change your career, your technical skills from the old job cannot be transferred to the new job, right? Then that's why you want to change because you didn't like what you were doing. However, certain skills are transferable. For example, selling skills. Even though you're not a salesperson, you still need to talk to people, talk to colleagues, bosses, investors. The way you present, the way you build your presence online. Sorry. I suffered a bit of a cold
Oh, sorry about
after
that.
coming back from Madrid.
Okay.
Maybe didn't sleep well.
Could be. It's all right. It happens. Hope you
Yeah.
feel better soon.
Yeah. Maybe we should just answer this last question, then we wrap.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Deal.
Yeah. So the last question is, if somebody wants to change career, it means that they didn't like what they were doing. So the technical skills before are no longer relevant for the next job. However, there will be skills that are transferable to the next job. For example, selling skills. You need to sell to customers. Even if you don't have customers, you need to sell to your boss, sell to investor. You need to attract talent. So you need to sell your company. You need good presentation skills. If you got online presence, it's easier to do things. So if you have all these skills, good social skills, you got work ethics, and you're a person that people generally like to work with, you'll be given a chance to try new things.
Wonderful, Eric. I think I could not imagine a better way to finish this episode. And I have this small tradition before we close it. I always invite my guests to leave the audience with a question to ponder through the day after they listen to our episode. What would be your question to the audience?
My question would be, think of something big, something that scares you. Then, what is the first step that you can take? A very small one towards that goal, towards that dream.
Beautiful. Eric, thank you so much for showing up to that Perception Paradox. Dear audience, thank you for listening us today. It was Eric Sim. I will leave the links to your LinkedIn, to your book, and Institute of Life in the description of the episode. And I guess, yeah, if you resonate with the content, please follow Eric and learn more about the work he does and the thoughts he shares. And yeah, Eric, thank you for being here with us today. It was a pleasure.
See you online.
See you online.